Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dugout Daily. I'm Charlie, and I'm joined by Bernard. How are you, mate?
I'm fine, mate. Thanks for having me on. I haven't got my back dropped today. I've been demoted down to the living room, but hey, it doesn't matter. It's what we say, not what we see, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. We'll get straight to it then. On Saturday night, it was a 4-0 win at Ellen Road with goals scored by Gabby Jesus and Rodri, Nathan Ake as well, and there was also a goal scored by Fernandinho right at the end of the game. What was your thoughts on it, Bernard?
Yeah, I think the score was good, but I don't think it. To be honest with you, I don't think we were overly comfortable for a lot of the game. All right, I think once it went to 2-0, I was a bit happy, but for a 4-0 scoreline, I just didn't think it was that sort of game. In respect, all right, I got a very late one, of course, but yeah, it was what we had to do. But we're not exactly controlling games at the moment. I don't think we ever really controlled this one, but we can't be unhappy with that. 4-0 will do. It gets the goal difference a little bit better as well. So we don't know. I doubt it'll come down to that, but it's always handy to sort of be near on thereabouts.
Yeah, 100%. We'll look at the team news then from this game. It was a 4-3-3 for us once again, of course, with Edison in goal, a back four of Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte and Ake, with Gundogan, Rodri and Foden in the middle, Sterling, Jesus and Grealish as the front three. What's your thoughts on this team news, Bernard?
Yeah, it was always going to be Aki or Zinchenko, wasn't it? So that wasn't a thing. But I was just really surprised, as most were, to see KDB and Bernardo on the bench, which was a bit of a funny one. Obviously, Bernardo got a bit of a run out, didn't he? But yeah, so it was all pressure on Foden, and fortunately, he was able to step up because obviously, creativity-wise, it was really Foden, this guy, was expected to pull the trigger and sort of produce the stuff. And thankfully, Pep knows his business, doesn't he, mate? He did it on the day, and it was good enough on the day.
Yeah, 100%. And the Leeds team looked, actually, we got a Pep quote on the team news, on the starting 11. He says, when we play every 3 or 4 days, everyone has to be involved. Our lineup is a fantastic one. So the Leeds team looks like this. They were in a 5-2-3 with Meslier in goal, a back five of Dallas, Ayling, Koch, Strike, and Firpo, with Click and Phillips in the midfield. The front three of Rafinha, Rodrigo, and Jack Harrison. What was your thoughts on the Leeds team, Bernard?
Yeah, there shouldn't have been anything to worry about, really. You always think someone like Jack Harrison might, do the old score against his old club thing, but I didn't. I didn't worry too much about that team. In all fairness, it was, they are struggling. They were, then 4 or 5 from bottom, and they're not 4 or 5 from bottom because they're any good. So yeah, it didn't bother me. And then we got a little bit of luck early doors with sadly, with an injury to the captain, wasn't it? Got an injury, picked up an injury. And he's the guy who sort of inspires them. They played all right without him, but that would have been an early blow for him as well. So yeah, a normal team for Leeds, and certainly a team that we shouldn't have had to worry about too much.
Yeah. As you've said there, Leeds United defender Liam Cooper suffered an injury in the warm-up and didn't start the game, which of course didn't help them as well. Looking at the stats then, 7 shots to 19, 2 shots on target to 6, 40-60 possession, 421 passes to 617, 78% accurate passes to 88%, 13 fouls to 3, 1 yellow card to 2, 3 offsides to 1, and 3 corners to 6. Do you think those stats fairly represent the game, Bernard?
Yeah, I think they were fair. I think they were fair. Obviously, they don't look like a 4-0 game, do they, based on those stats? Perhaps a 2-1 or a 3-1 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, say Leeds managed did have a go. They were physical, of course. They were physical, and that's their right to be physical. You know, they can't match your team, and all credit to them. They worked very very hard. I thought they were. We just spoke off air. I thought they really run themselves into the ground and didn't allow us to ever control it. But we're always going to create chances. So it was always really, in theory, going to end up one way.
Yeah, yeah. And then the attack momentum looks like this. Leeds with a few periods. Do you think that represents a 4-0 game as well, Bernard?
Yeah, I think I mean, that's pretty good compared to what we've seen this season, isn't it? I mean, obviously, it doesn't show that third-minute slip on that, does it? That that Cancelo slip that let in the guy, Rafina, was it, through? But obviously, it didn't end up in anything, did it? It was just obviously blocked by Gundo, so it didn't actually do it. But I think that was probably better for them. It looked far better than some other things. But as you can see from that, it wasn't consistent. It was just like small peaks for Leeds. But as I say, I think the fact they harassed us, and I think they were very poor. They were very poor in the last third. They just sometimes didn't know what to do with it, and that was a big problem. They've been a bit calmer in that last third of the pitch, and they sort of rushed passes and stuff like that. I think it would have probably been even worse looking for us, and certainly we perhaps wouldn't have kept a clean sheet. But they just lack that little bit of decisiveness up front, which we will talk about our players who probably did as well at some stage. But yeah, I think that's. Doesn't quite. I think it shows that it wasn't really a 4-0. I think those stats. I think if it had been a 3-1, you probably wouldn't have shirts at that. It would have been more reasonable.
Yeah, yeah. So on to some other stats and facts. Excluding penalty, City have scored the most set piece goals in the Premier League this season with 18. Pep Guardiola promoted under-18s head coach Carlos Vicens to the first team. The Spaniard will strengthen the existing setup primarily by working on set pieces and providing a link between the first team and the academy. That was announced on July the 1st, 2021. Pep responded to that saying, Carlos has made it so simple and clear for the players. Pep also said the secret of set pieces is about the taker. With a good taker, you have a chance. Some other stats then. City's top scorers this season so far. Mahrez 23, De Bruyne 15, Sterling 14, Foden 13, Jesus 13, Bernardo 13, and Gundogan with 8. The most assists, De Bruyne with 12, Foden and Jesus with 11, Cancelo and Mahrez with 9, Gundogan with 7, and Sterling with 6. And the most goal contributions, Mahrez with 32, De Bruyne 27, Foden and Jesus 24, Sterling 20, Bernardo 18, Gundogan 15, and Cancelo with 12. City have an 11-0 aggregate win in the two Premier League games against Leeds this season. That's the biggest aggregate score between two sides. City have kept a clean sheet in each of their last 5 away Premier League games, their longest ever run of consecutive away clean sheets in their league history. And finally, 31 goals scored across 4 games for City this weekend, with a 7-0 win over Everton in Premier League 2. Of course, the 4-0 win at Ellen Road. The women's team beat Brighton 7-2, and the under-18s team beat Newcastle 13-0. So quite a successful weekend overall for the club. On to the players then, starting with Ederson in goal. 1 save, 1 punch, 2 out of 2 successful runouts. 1 save from inside the box, 35 touches, 85% accurate passes, 2 out of 6 accurate long balls, 2 clearances. It was dribbled past once, none out of 1 ground duels were won as well. Thoughts on Ederson's performance, Bernard?
Well, what have we been saying, mate? I've been saying it the last few weeks, haven't I? Why don't he save one with his feet? And he did. So perhaps he listens. Perhaps he listens, Charlie. Perhaps he listens in. I'm not too sure, but that's obviously it would have been a consolation goal, of course. But it's just nice for him for once to stick out a foot to make a save. I have been commenting it's not the sort of thing he does very often, so that was nice to see. But apart from that, I thought it was very quiet. It's not the greatest distribution. A couple of times he had to come off his line. So when Leeds pump it over the top, you just knew he'd be there, and that's what you want. So he just had an okay game, as I said, and kept his clean sheet intact with it, with an okay foot save at the end.
Yeah. Big up Solo in the chat. Hope you're well, mate. Next up then is João Cancelo at right back. His stats look like this: 2 clearances, 1 block shot, 1 tackle, 1 clearance off the line, 4 out of 7 ground duels were won, 3 out of 3 aerial duels were won. 21 times he lost possession. It was 1 foul, 112 touches, 86% accurate passes, 2 key passes, none out of 2 accurate crosses, 3 out of 5 accurate long balls, 1 shot on target, 2 shots blocked, 3 out of 5 successful dribble attempts, and 1 big chance missed. Thoughts on Cancelo's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, I think we've said it, haven't we? It just doesn't look as effective on his normal right hand side because he's so used to playing down that left, and I think he's just more effective coming inside, if you like, from his left, from the left hand side on his right. So, yeah, I didn't think those stats weren't too bad there, were they? And he made a good clearance off the line. I think that was in the stats there, wasn't it, near the end? And as I said, it would have been consolation goals for Leeds probably, but he was there to do it. Yeah, but just not as effective. I don't think he's as effective on the right. So I'm just hoping the sooner we get Walker back on that right hand side, the sooner he gets back on the left, I think we'll see a lot better from him.
Yeah. Next up then, Ruben Diaz. He got an assist, 5 clearances, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions, 2 out of 5 aerial duels were won, 7 times he lost possession, 103 touches, 93% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 4 out of 8 accurate long balls, 1 big chance created as well. Thoughts on Ruben Diaz's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, good assist. That's what you want your centre backs to be up there for corners and stuff like that. And you did mention before about this new set piece guy who's been working on them for over a year now. So, yeah, that's what you want from people like Diaz to sort of don't necessarily have to edit towards goal. He can just edit back. You know, so many times these centre halves like Aki end up heading it over the bar or something like that. He just concentrated, obviously, on getting it back into the danger zone, and that's all he needed to do. But I thought it wasn't his best game. I didn't think he had his greatest game in defence, but I thought his partner was probably far better on the day. But again, just a steady, solid performance, and he got an assist.
Yeah. Next up, then, his partner, as you've just mentioned, Emerick Laporte. 4 clearances, 2 block shots, 1 tackle, 1 out of 3 ground duels were won, none out of 1 aerial duels were won. 6 times he lost possession, 1 foul, 98 touches, 95% accurate passes, 8 out of 11 accurate long balls as well. Thoughts on Laporte's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, but people when they're critical of these players don't realise they can't do everything right all the time, and Laporte falls into that category. Of course, he makes mistakes, but Diaz makes mistakes, Aki makes mistakes. Every team in the world, I mean, every Van Dijk, I'm sure, even the wonderful Van Dijk makes mistakes, and Laporte does. But you can't say anything about his performance. That was absolutely. I think he had one off Rafinha that he stopped into that was could have been a goal dead easily. And he's just bringing it out from the back. He's usually excellent, and he's always excellent. And you have to say yes, there will be the occasional mistake, but that's how it is. And I thought Laporte was excellent. I thought he played excellent against Leeds. As I say, we weren't in control of that game too much, but I don't think it was through any fault of Laporte. So I just thought we perhaps missed a little bit in the midfield. We lost a bit of control there, but no, Laporte had a great game.
Yeah. That was his 150th game for City for Laporte. He said on his head injury, I didn't know about the head injury. It was a big shock. I fell down and I didn't know exactly what happened. Very quickly, they asked me if I was good. And then he said, They asked me questions if I remembered everything and if everything was okay, so I could play. Next up then is Nathan Ake. He was on the pitch for 60 minutes, of course, scored a goal, one clearance, one interception, two tackles, 2 out of 2 ground duels were won, 3 out of 4 aerial duels were won, 13 times he lost possession, 62 touches, 77% accurate passes, none out of 1 accurate crosses, none out of 3 accurate long balls, 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target as well. Thoughts on Ake's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, defensively, it wasn't his greatest game that he's played for us, but I think teams are targeting him as well. So if he's not getting any support from people like Grealish, etc., he's going to struggle a little bit, and that's what happens because, say, we've seen that in the past few weeks when he's been playing. Other teams have targeted him more than other City players who perhaps got away with it, but I forgive any of that for that. Just a brilliant striker's goal. Let's face it, that was a typical. We were playing at Leeds United. They used to have an excellent striker called Alan Clark. We used to call him. He used to be called Sniffer Clark in the old days, and it was just one of his goals. Brilliant control, poked it in. It was just brilliant, and I'll forgive any defensive lapses on the basis that, as I say, he was put under a lot of pressure, and he has been done it, but he stepped up and scored a vital goal for us as well.
Yeah. And he tweeted after the game, a goal, clean sheet, and taking 3 points back to Manchester. Lovely afternoon. Into the midfield then, Rodri next up. Of course, he scored the first goal, 72 touches, 97% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 5 out of 6 accurate long balls, 1 shot on target, 2 out of 3 ground duels were won, 3 out of 3 aerial duels were won, 4 times he lost possession, 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, and 2 tackles. Thoughts on Rodri's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, good goal, didn't it? Settle the nerves, give us that one goal start, 1-0 start. All right, probably poor marking from Leeds, but we want to see more. He's a big lad, Rodri. I think we've probably talked about it probably earlier in the season where, for set pieces, for such a big lad, he doesn't seem to get his head on many. For me, he doesn't do as much as he could when he used to have with Rodri's Rockets things. I mean, he did do a couple of headers as well back in the old days, when we first started it, and it was nice to see him get another headed goal. He doesn't get enough of them, but as far as the game, yeah, I think he got overrun a little bit in the first half, but I think as the game progressed and we were 1-0, then it went 2-0, I think he sort of asserted a bit more control, and I think he enjoyed himself a lot more, but he got us off to the start we needed.
Yeah, 100%. Next up then is Ilkay Gundogan. 71 touches, 90% accurate passes, 2 key passes, 1 out of 1 accurate crosses, 5 out of 6 accurate long balls, 2 shots off target, 1 shot blocked, 2 out of 4 ground duels were won, 8 times he lost possession, he was fouled twice, 3 clearances, and he was dribbled past twice as well. Thoughts on Gundogan's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, it was like I thought he'd took a Walker tablet or something, the way he legged it back for that in that 3rd minute when Cancelo slipped, because he was the first one back. You could see him. It was early in the game, so perhaps he had his Weetabix was still having an effect. I don't know, but you could see him pegging it back, and it worked. Of course, the Leeds player probably should have passed it a lot quicker, passed it across, but he got back and saved it. I thought that was great from Gundo. But apart from that, I thought he struggled a little bit. I think it was a bit physical. I don't think he likes them sort of games, Gundo. He does sort of disappear a little bit and he sort of misses out. And I thought generally, apart from that first half and that first few minutes where he did that, he struggled. I think he struggled against Leeds. I think it was far too physical for him.
Yeah, 100%. And then he said after the game, on the Premier League title race, we're competitors. They are, we are. We need to be able to manage situations. The pressure is always on and the responsibility is always there to win all games. It looks like both teams might not struggle. Every game is a final now. Next up then, Phil Foden. He got 2 assists, 46 touches, 82% accurate passes, 4 key passes, 3 out of 7 accurate crosses, none out of 1 accurate long balls, 2 big chances created, 1 out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 3 out of 7 ground duels were won. 13 times he lost possession. He was fouled twice, 1 clearance, 1 interception, and he was dribbled past once as well. Thoughts on Foden's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Phil Foden. I think in that Leeds game to produce the ammunition he did, didn't he? A couple of assists and a big part in another one, I think. Yeah, just excellent. And this is what we want to see off Phil Foden, given that responsibility by Pep. You say without Bernardo and KDB there, he was obviously, Gundogan isn't that sort of player, so he's not going to get help from him. Cancelo could be a more constructive midfielder, but he didn't have that sort of game either. So it was all really on Phil Foden. He did a great job, fantastic job considering all the pressure and the fact he was the main man, if you like.
Yeah. Big up Anthony in the chat as well. Hope you're well, mate. Next up then, Raheem Sterling. 60 touches, 83% accurate passes, none out of 3 accurate crosses, 1 shot off target, 3 shots blocked, 10 out of 17 successful dribble attempts, 1 big chance missed, 14 out of 25 ground duels were won. None out of 1 aerial duels were won. 20 times he lost possession. He was fouled twice, 1 interception and 2 tackles as well. Thoughts on Sterling's performance, Bernard?
It's a funny one, that, mate. Isn't it? I mean, I've watched. There was like a video today about his where they concentrate on one player and they have the video of it, and it's just what I thought. He does so much right, and then just doesn't at the last minute know quite what to do. He doesn't know when to pull the trigger. His mind sort of blocks on him. He doesn't know. Even when he passes it, he tends to pass it to a player who's perhaps going to struggle to do anything with it. He seems to pass it to a player who's running into a dead end, and we end up losing the ball because he's not passing to a player who's in space who can get a shot in or make space for himself. He gives it to players who are, not in as good a position as he is. So it is annoying. And watching this little video back, and it was a complimentary video. People were saying, "Oh, look at all these dribbles," but you look at it and you say, "Yeah, all these dribbles," but he's not making the right decision at the end of it. He's hanging on for it for too long. And he was great. He taught. I think Stuart Brennan said in his player things, he left the defence in tatters. He did, but what came of it? That's the problem. It's all right leaving defence in tatters, but you've got to either pull the trigger and score, or at least get a shot on target, or you've got to lay it off to another player who's got to do something with it. And it just time after time he didn't. And yeah, on the face of it, not bad. I mean, Stuart Brennan gave him 8 out of 10. On the face of it, yeah, great performance, but he didn't do anything. His brain's not working when it comes to that last final thing, and that's the disappointing thing. Great player. I'm sure he might do better somewhere else away from City, but he just seems to lack that little bit now of knowing what the hell to do with it when he gets in a good position, because he was getting the rebounds, wasn't he? If he played the ball, it'll hit a defender but bounce back to him, so he's getting all the right things and everything. It's just that final thing just let him down all the time, which well, it is what it is. We keep saying this about Sterling. He's a bit like a Cancelo. He does a lot of good stuff, but just that last thing just isn't quite working.
Yeah, 100%. Next up then is Jack Grealish. 63 touches, 78% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 1 out of 4 accurate crosses, 1 out of 2 accurate long balls, 1 shot off target, 6 out of 10 successful dribble attempts, 9 out of 15 ground duels were won, 19 times he lost possession, 1 foul, he was fouled 3 times, 2 clearances and 1 interception. Thoughts on Grealish's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, another one who I thought he grew into it, actually. I thought it was far as the game went on, he was a lot better. But I just want, I think we've commented before, I do like Jack Grealish. I think he's great, but he holds that ball, he keeps it well. Perhaps he didn't draw as many fouls as he normally would. He did that, but obviously we'll talk about the referee later, who obviously wouldn't know a foul from a genuine tackle if it slapped him in the face. He's absolutely useless, but. Yeah, I just wanted a little bit more from him, but I did think he improved. I just think as the game went on, certainly when he was getting, he's one of these who doesn't care, does he, when he's getting bombarded by the paper balls and paper whatever it was. He's the sort of character you want on the pitch, but we don't just want a character. We want someone who can contribute as well, and he does contribute, but not at the sharp end at the moment. So that's my main disappointment with Grealish at the moment. He's just not making it count where it matters.
Yeah. Next up, then, the man in form at the moment in front of goal, Gabriel Jesus. He scored again. Of course, he did. 2 shots on target, 3 out of 4 successful dribble attempts, 56 touches, 82% accurate passes, 5 key passes, 1 out of 2 accurate long balls, 1 big chance created, 8 out of 11 ground duels were won, 1 out of 3 aerial duels were won. 10 times he lost possession. He was fouled 4 times, 1 interception and 1 tackle. Thoughts on Jesus' performance, Bernard?
Yeah, again, I think obviously this false nine role that Pep asks someone to play, we've never found the guy who can do it on a regular basis. So it ends up being a position where you sort of hung out to dry a little bit if you play it, because obviously none of the City players can quite do it. So obviously, and it fell to Jesus again, who wears the number 9 to play that role. I thought he played very, very well. It was about 20 minutes before I noticed he was playing. In all fairness, so I sort of looked at the clock and I thought, oh, that's Jesus. I forgot he was there because he hadn't, well, obviously he'd been there doing things, but I hadn't really noticed him. But he's another one who, as the game progressed, got better. Great goal, took the goal perfectly well. He perhaps could have had another 1 or 2 as well as that. But yeah, sacrificial, but he was there, as I say, not great, but hey, he's knocking the goals in, isn't he? So at the moment, I'm not saying he's undroppable, but at the moment while he's playing, it's like a horse. If a horse is doing well, usually you try and enter it for as many races as you can and get as many wins as you can. And it's the same with Jesus. Keep him playing while he's scoring goals, and that's all. And then obviously once he goes off, then drop him. But at the moment, keep him playing.
Yeah. So he's now scored 6 goals in 3 games, with 4 against Watford, 1 against Madrid, and 1 at Ellen Road. He tweeted after the game, "Well played, guys," as well. Next up, then, onto the substitutes. Zinchenko was on the pitch for 30 minutes. 1 block shot, none out of 1 ground duels were won, none out of 1 aerial duels were won. 8 times he lost possession, 1 offside, 41 touches, 88% accurate passes, 1 out of 1 accurate long balls, 1 shot off target, and none out of 1 successful dribble attempts. Thoughts on Zinchenko's performance, Bernard?
I thought it was pretty poor. I just didn't think he played that well when he came on. When we misplaced the pass, it seems to be Zinchenko from what I saw. He obviously didn't. He was only on for 30 minutes. We had a few dodgy passes based on those stats there, and it sort of backed up what I thought. I thought he was pretty awful when he came on. But hey, we can forgive him anything, can't we? He's certainly been playing very, very well lately. So I'll let him off with that. Getting into the pace of the game, as I said, Leeds didn't make it easy. So. Yeah, not great, but he's there. We have to rely on him, and we should give him our support.
Yeah. Next up, then, Bernardo Silva. 11 touches, 100% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 1 out of 1 accurate long balls, 1 big chance created, 1 shot blocked, none out of 2 successful dribble attempts, none out of 3 ground duels were won. He lost possession twice, and he was dribbled past once as well. Thoughts on Bernardo's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, I assume I'm a bit perplexed as to why Pep brought him on. In all fairness, if you're going to rest him. Don't bring him on for a few minutes. But obviously, you wanted to give Foden a rest. He's had a brilliant game, so you probably understand why. And it was sort of like for like, because Bernardo just took up the mantle of running around that midfield. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. He wasn't on the pitch very long, and Bernard gives his fans a chance to sing the song. Not that we need many excuses to do that. So all good.
Yeah. Next up, then, and the final sub, Fernandinho. Of course, he scored a goal in the last couple of seconds. 13 touches, 100% accurate passes, one shot on target as well. Thoughts on Fernandinho's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, great to see him score. He's not going to get many more chances, mate, is he, between now and the end of the season? So brilliant. He has scored the odd little rocket like that, hasn't he, in the past? I wasn't too sure. Did he get a slight deflection? I couldn't figure it out. I never really watched it back. But yeah, it was well taken. Well taken, Raheem Sterling, for setting it up as well. He couldn't quite realise he was going to set up that, did he? But he was after a penalty. But yeah, great goal. As I say, we're just enjoying while we can, because we won't be getting to see him much longer, will we?
No. And a start on Fernandinho, has now made the more appearances in the Premier League than any other Brazilian player, with 260. And he tweeted after the game, +3, huge win. Let's keep pushing. Come on, City. So on to the manager then, Pep Guardiola. Did he get it right?
Yeah, I don't think with what we know about what's happening injury-wise, we've probably raised our eyebrows a little bit without either KDB and Bernardo. All right, Mahrez perhaps wasn't as big a surprise, but there's no doubt Mahrez was penciled in for Madrid, that's for sure, based on his subs bench. So yeah, I mean, apart from that, raising a few eyebrows, as I did say at the time, obviously Pep knows what he's doing. He relied on Foden, it worked. As I say, not the easiest game, not the easiest team to play. They were fighting for their lives. All credit to him. Jesse Marsh has got them well organised. So yeah, I think Pep did it with the troops he's got. I don't think Pep did too much wrong.
Yeah. On to some Pep quotes then. On the title race, he said, "It's in our hands. Newcastle, Wolves, West Ham and Villa. We know exactly what we have to do, and we have the same opinion. We win, we'll be champions. We drop points, they will be champions." He also said, on Leeds, "We knew coming here the way they play. We suffered a lot in the first half, but in the end we had control and could have scored more. An incredible result for us." He also said, "They're so fast up front. Today was so important to make our chances to be champions again." He also said on Laporte, "What a game Laporte played. He is doing an incredible season." He also said, "Since I arrived in England, I heard about Ellen Road. Today I experienced it and why it's so special. Fighting to stay in the Premier League, singing, chanting, and how people get behind them. Leeds is one of the greatest teams in England, and I have sympathy for the fans." He also said, on changes made versus Leeds, "We play for the title. We play every 3 days. I don't rest players. I decided for this selection the best to beat Leeds." He also said, "After second goal from Ake, we create a lot of chances. So ahead of the Champions League on Wednesday, it's a really good result." He also said, "We started really well. We didn't expect 5 at the back, and we were surprised. But after the goal, we suffered a lot. We conceded transitions. After the second goal from Ake, we create a lot of chances. So ahead of the Champions League on Wednesday, it's a good result." And finally, always we will play later. Right now, it's not too complicated. They are going to win their games. We know exactly what we need to do, win our games. Still, it's a privilege and an honour to try and win back-to-back 4 Premier Leagues in 5 years. We'll move on to Leeds then. How do you think they played, Bernard?
Yeah, as I said, I thought a little bit physical, but at the end of the day, if they get away with it, if the referee in charge, we'll mention, allows Leeds to get away with it, they will get away with it. And all credit to them, they're fighting for their lives, and it does still look a bit, with Everton winning, it does look a bit dodgy. But I think if they could improve the finishing, they could improve in that last third. I think they'll do a lot better. Obviously, Jesse Marsh has sort of improved certain things, but obviously Leeds last season could score goals, couldn't they, even in competitive games? But they've not been quite as efficient this season with that. I mean, obviously they've had that ex-United guy leading the line at times. He didn't, obviously, on Saturday. He came on, didn't he, as a substitute? But yeah, so Yeah, it's just I thought they played very well. I thought they didn't give City any rest. We didn't allow us to control the game. That was all credit to them, and they did borderline on the physicality sometimes. But as I said, if you get away with it, that's all well and good. It's up to the referee to clamp down, etc. But no, I think they may still get out of it, but it's difficult, isn't it? And yeah, I don't know. It's Leeds to Everton for me. I think Burnley might just claw themselves out of it. So it's between Leeds and Everton, and either of those teams going down is, not a shock. It's certainly a shock in Everton's case, perhaps not in Leeds' case, because it's only the second season back, isn't it? But you did think they could establish themselves, and I'm sure they'll bounce back if they do. But they've still got work to do. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to stay up, I think.
Yeah. On to the referee then, Paul Tierney. How do you think he did?
Yeah, I think people are saying at the end of the day, you look at the Dallas, just take the Dallas incident as a one-off thing. That was his fifth foul that he'd committed. I'm sorry, and at least if you top 2 or 3 fouls up, that's got to be a booking, surely.
Yeah.
Even not the, and I wouldn't say there were, nice little tippy tappy fouls either. So, and that wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have done what he did, and obviously injured him and put himself out, God knows for how long. And that's all to do with Paul Tierney not making the right decisions at the right time. And we've seen this time and time again from referees, and Paul Tierney is one of the least experienced, I think, at the moment in the Premier League, and he's shown it. He just doesn't know when to blow for a foul, let play go on, and stuff like this. It's a great skill, and not many referees have got it, if any, at the moment. I don't think there's many do have it, even in UEFA as well. When we look at UEFA and stuff like that, their referees have the same problem. They try and let things go, but they don't seem to know when to clamp down. And Paul Turner is the ideal guy for that. He just doesn't know when to do it. And I lay the blame firmly at his door for the injuries to Dallas. He caused it himself. Of course, he did Dallas, but it probably wouldn't have happened if Turner had been a stronger referee and clamped down early. I know they were told at the start of the season to be a bit more lenient, but there's a level, isn't there, to how many things they let go. And 5 fouls. And the 5th foul, he injures himself. I'm sorry, he shouldn't have even got to that stage. So that was just a microcosm of his overall performance. I think I thought it was pretty awful.
Yeah. On to the fans then. Of course, they were like chucking paper onto the pitch most of the game, and it was mostly Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish was getting them back for it. What was your thoughts on the atmosphere?
I thought apart from the last 10 minutes where, we were many games, you're far too young, Charlie, but Main Road, when we were down, a smaller ground, when you're losing 3 or 4-0, you get behind your team, you sing, because that's all you've got left. You just enjoy yourselves, and that's what Leeds do. It's a smaller ground, it's more compact, they've got great atmosphere there, as it will be. But apart from the last 10 minutes, I thought the City fans were probably out singing them for most of the game. It's only that last 10 minutes you heard all the Leeds fans, but the City fans don't get any credit. We never do. It's as simple as that. But so all credit. They're good fans. But as I say, it's easier. It's easier in a ground like that where you're more compact and more next to the pitch. Of course it is. But say they were good, and they were good throughout the game. But I thought City were better. I thought the City fans were better throughout the game, apart from, as I say, the last 10 minutes. As far as a paper throwing is concerned, I mean, I've been at the Etihad when we used to get these clappers for the Napoli game. Some of them got turned into like darts or aeroplanes and were thrown on the pitch. So, but I agree with the principle of some people saying, well, if it might, next time it might not be paper, it might be something else. But they'll think twice about giving out these little paper boards in future, won't they? But I did ask whether the art of aeroplane making hadn't made it over the Pennines, because it's obviously, with City fans, I've known we've done it, but we usually turn them into darts or little aeroplanes and throw them on the pitch rather than just lob a chunk of paper on the pitch. But it is what it is. I'm not going to get too wet up. Jack Grealish didn't get too wet up about it. He's not going to get harmed by a bit of paper, is he? And as long as it was only paper, for me, I'm not that bothered, in all fairness.
Yeah. On to the Premier League table then. We remain at the top, a point clear of Liverpool. Leeds are only 2 points clear of Everton. Everton with a game in hand as well. It's not looking good for Leeds there, is it? And they've got a tough run coming as well.
No, I say it's Everton or Leeds. I say Burnley could get dragged back into it. They've still got, none of them got easy games. When you're at the bottom, you don't have an easy game, do you? Because they're not. I don't think that any of them are playing teams below them, for instance, and even that would be difficult because those teams below them have nothing to play for. I don't think they are anyway. I think they're playing teams above them, so you have to hope that obviously some of the teams above them are on the beach. So that's the only problem at this stage of the season. You know, not every team is going to be fully up for it. So that is the worry. So if Everton win the game in hand, you will possibly say Leeds are going to be the favourites to go down.
Yeah. Your man of the match then. Who are you going to give it to?
Has to be Phil, doesn't it? I think, mate. I don't think. I thought I also had a Laporte up there with him with his performance, but I think overall on the day, the fact he was asked to do so much as well, and he didn't let us down. I would definitely give it to Phil Foden.
Yeah, and finally, tomorrow night at the Bernabeu, Real Madrid versus City. It's 4-3 on aggregate at the minute. How are you feeling for it?
Yeah, well, we've seen pictures of Walker back training, haven't we? But I can't for the life of me believe he'll be starting tomorrow. Stones is definitely out. So basically, we're going to perhaps start with the same defence we started against Leeds. Now that worries me to death, in all fairness, because I thought they played. Don't get me wrong, they played okay, but I'm sorry again, but it's a different proposition, Real Madrid to Leeds United, and I also think back to a couple of games we've had recently where the second half of that Atletico Madrid game where we couldn't put our foot on the ball and control it at all. All right, we'll have KDB and Bernardo and Mahrez playing tomorrow, no doubt, after being rested for Leeds. But it's the defence that worries me. So I think it's just a matter of us making sure we take our chances, because I'm fairly sure I'm not on for a 0-0 tomorrow. I can't see that in a million years. I'll be very surprised if it is. So I expect goals. So we're going to have to at least match them. And obviously we go one behind, we're in trouble, aren't we? We're talking extra time and penalties, but we'll have to at least try and match them for the goals, because I think we will let go. I think we will concede tomorrow. I certainly see that with that defence. As I say, whether it's Aki's going to be fit. I mean, he hobbled off, didn't he? He had a bit of a limp, didn't he? So he's not 100%. So we're going to be left with Zinchenko on the left and Cancelo playing on the right, where we've already said he's not that good. Even though it's his normal position. So yeah. Bit of trepidation, but we have to be confident. And it's going to be tough. And they're now the new La Liga champions again. They've got the title back, so they'll be confident. You don't have to worry about their last games in the league and getting players injured. So I think on that level, we're going into a game probably slightly underdogs on the mental state and stuff like this. But hey, these guys know how to do it. These City players know how to raise themselves for the big games. And I think Pep knows how to pick the best team and get the best out of them. So I'm optimistic, but it's not going to be easy, I don't think. What do you think?
Well, I can see it going either way, to be honest. I think
be positive. As I say, it's got to be a nightmare. As I say, put it this way: if we perform as we did for like probably 2/3 of that game against Leeds, and we perform as we did for that second half against Atletico Madrid, we're going out, mate. It's as simple as that. But if we raise our game and fight for each other, we'll be okay. But it's going to be a hell of a game, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think Benzema's guaranteed to score at least one after he scored two at the Etihad. Yeah. So we need to match him really, and an early goal could do us the world of good. To be honest, I don't think we want to go behind. I don't want to go behind particularly, or if we do go behind, just try and remain composed. KDB will be on the pitch. He did have a habit of getting a bit sulky, but I think he's improved this season. I think he's a bit more of a leader. So hopefully he can. And I think we got leaders all over. A few more leaders on the pitch. You think of Diaz at the back, etc. So people like Phil Foden can step up and sort of lead as well. So I'm happy on that basis. But as you said there, we do go behind. It's going to be a bit of a struggle, but you just have to hang in. We just have to hang in there because we're quite capable of scoring goals. Because we know our defence isn't that great, neither's theirs. And I think the Alaba
Alaba's out, isn't he? I believe, or he's supposed to be out, and he's all right. He's not been having the greatest time recently, but that's the key thing. So defensively, they're struggling as well, and the players who they've had in defence haven't been looking great. So there are positives, but there's still negatives. But we have to be confident.
Yeah, yeah. And it does look like the winner will be playing Liverpool in Paris. They're 2-0 up, going into the second leg, which is tonight. So just before we wrap it up, where can we find you, mate?
Yeah, well, I do my Citizen channel, I do my film and TV stuff as well, guys. So if you just get me on at Bernard_Dineen on Twitter, and all the links are on there. If you put my name in any search engine, all my YouTube stuff will come up anyway. It'd be great to see you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cheers for coming on again, mate.
No problem.
You can find me here, Dugout Daily on YouTube. This is the football channel. Hit the Apex is the F1 channel, and at MCFC Hibs on Twitter. So everybody, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all later. Take care, and goodbye for now.